Welcome back. Continuing the news. Officials at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security were in the hot seat today as Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC, raised questions about irregularities highlighted in a recent Auditor General report. Procurement issues and questions surrounding pension payments were among the concerns listed, but PAC members began with questions to the Permanent Secretary about oversight and accountability. Herman Green reports.
Was there anything that jumped out at any point that struck you as being particularly egregious?
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Colette Roberts-Risden, facing questions at Tuesday's PAC meeting. Last month, an Auditor General Department report revealed a list of irregularities at the ministry, which could lead to billions of dollars of losses or misuse of funds. To compound the issue, the Auditor General noted that even though internal audits raised some 90 matters of concern, the irregularities seemed to have been ignored.
We saw where internal audits would have been done, and there were no evidence submitted that management had responded to these internal audits. So that was the point being made.
And so a barrage of questions to the Permanent Secretary on her stewardship.
There seems to be a culture of non-responsiveness on critical issues. You must understand why members are deeply concerned about what seems to have been taking place at the ministry over an extended period of time.
Has anyone been held accountable? Because you are the Chief Executive Officer of the ministry. It is you where the buck stops.
Did the minister for the ministry at the time get any communication from the Permanent Secretary indicating that we have these internal control weaknesses that have been highlighted by internal audit that we're working on resolving?
Mrs. Roberts-Risden indicated that delinquencies on the part of line managers resulted in the delays in responses. She said different levels of disciplinary action had been taken in each instance, but insisted that the number of outstanding issues was incorrect.
I got that report, and most of the issues identified, which was for 1920, now the financial year ended in March. When I went through that, I looked at it and I said, but many of these things have been resolved. For example, Mr. Chairman, many of the things related to the asset register, and there were repeated things.
However, committee members were still not satisfied, as there was no record to show which issues were rectified or when. It was strongly recommended that steps be taken to establish a proper audit response register along with a compliance manager to oversee it. The ministry will face the PAC again next week. Herman Green, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Chairman of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, Julian Robinson, today bore the brunt of a tirade from Member of Parliament Juliet Holness. Mrs. Holness took issue with a media report suggesting that government members did not support a request to invite audit personnel from the Labour and Social Security Ministry to a meeting last week. A few minutes into today's sitting, Mrs. Holness took Mr. Robinson to task.
As the chairman, you would take us not responding to an email as an indication that we are in objection and we do not support. And you need to stop it, Mr. Chairman, because very often a message is sent to the media which goes to the public that betrays all honesty, the circumstances, and then we are forced to live with it. If you do it again, Mr. Chairman, we are going to insist that only at the meeting, which is what is required, we make our decisions.
Mr. Robinson, however, rejected Mrs. Holness's suggestion of a conspiracy.
I must tell you, I take strong offense to what Member Holness has said about me conspiring with the media and going behind the back of the committee to conspire with the media. I take strong offense to that. An email was sent out, 2 people responded in time. I don't control what the media reports. And I take offense to any suggestion that I tell the media what to report. I don't tell the media what to report. So when I'm told that I'm conspiring with the media, I take strong offense to that.